The execution of Moises Sandoval Mendoza. Moises Sandoval Mendoza was executed in Texas on Wednesday, July 17th. He was convicted of the 2004 murder of Rachelle O'Neil Tolleson. The execution took place at the state penitentiary in Huntsville. Mendoza was pronounced dead at 6:40 p.m. after receiving a lethal injection. Give a like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Rachelle O'Neil Tolleson was abducted from her Farmersville home. Her 6-month-old daughter was left alone inside the house. Tolleson's body was discovered 6 days later in a field near a creek. Mendoza confessed to the horrific details of the crime. He admitted to choking Tolleson until she lost consciousness. He then sexually assaulted her. To ensure her death, he stabbed her. Finally, he burned her body in an attempt to destroy any evidence. Rachelle O'Neil Tolleson was only 20 years old when she was murdered. She was the mother of a 6-month-old daughter named Avery. Her life was tragically cut short, leaving a void that can never be filled. Mark O'Neil, Rachelle's father, has expressed enduring grief. He stated he holds no forgiveness for Mendoza. He planned to witness the execution, seeking some measure of closure after 2 decades of pain. He vividly remembers the devastating phone call informing him of his daughter's disappearance. Pam O'Neil, Rachelle's mother, found Avery alone in the house. In a 2005 interview, she spoke of her enduring sorrow. The loss of her daughter has been a constant burden. Avery, Rachelle's daughter, was only 6 months old when her mother was taken. She has grown up without ever knowing her mother. The impact of this loss on her life is immeasurable. Mendoza was convicted of capital murder in 2005. He was subsequently sentenced to death for his heinous crime. The legal process that followed was lengthy and complex. The defense argued that Mendoza received ineffective counsel during his trial. They claimed there was a failure to adequately investigate testimony regarding his behavior in jail. They also alleged that prosecutors used false testimony to secure the conviction. Mendoza's attorneys requested a stay of execution from the Supreme Court. They sought a review of a lower court decision. The Supreme Court ultimately denied the appeal, clearing the way for the execution to proceed. The Texas Attorney General's office urged the court to deny Mendoza's appeal. They argued that his claim was serial relitigation. They emphasized the state's interest in punishing those found guilty of such brutal crimes. Initially, Mendoza was described as a hardworking student. He had received scholarships and completed vocational training. This image stood in stark contrast to the brutality of his crime. However, Mendoza had a history of violence. He was out on bail for 2 aggravated robberies at the time of Tolleson's murder. He had also been involved in a violent altercation involving his family. Psychological evaluations painted a disturbing picture. Mendoza was described as emotionally immature and manipulative. One evaluation labeled him as one of the most violent, sadistic men. Mendoza's execution was the 3rd in Texas this year. It was the 13th execution in the United States this year. Each execution represents the end of a long legal battle and the finality of a death sentence. For the victim's family, the execution represents the end of a long legal process. It offers a measure of justice after immense suffering. However, it does not erase the pain of their loss. Mark O'Neil, Rachelle's father, made a statement following the execution. He said, "I don't forgive him at all." He added, "You should have died 20 years ago, and I have no sympathy for you." His words reflect the depth of his grief and anger.